The Whitmore estate stood like a monument to luxury. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and windows so tall they seemed to touch the sky. But within its walls, silence reigned. Not the peaceful kind, but the haunting, heavy silence that follows great loss. Billionaire Charles Whitmore had it all: private jets, booming businesses, and a name that echoed through the financial world. But none of it mattered after he lost his wife, Eliza. Eliza wasn't just the light of Charles's life. She was the heartbeat of their home. Her laughter once filled the hallways, and her gentle touch brought warmth even to the coldest corners of their mansion. She died in a tragic car accident one rainy night while returning from a charity gala. One moment she was there, glowing in a red silk dress, promising to return before the kids fell asleep, and the next she was gone. Since then, the mansion had lost its soul. Every night, the sobs of Charles's two children echoed through the halls. 6-year-old Lily cried herself to sleep, clutching a photograph of her mother. 9-year-old Max, who used to be energetic and bold, now barely spoke. He had stopped going to school. He barely ate. He stared out the window, waiting for someone who would never come back. Charles had tried everything: grief counselors, child psychologists, nannies trained in trauma care. He even took a break from his billion-dollar empire to stay home, but still nothing worked. He was a broken man. His days were spent in silence, often sitting in Eliza's old chair with a glass of whiskey, staring into space. The children grew more distant. The air was heavy with unspoken pain, and even the staff walked on tiptoe, avoiding eye contact, afraid to say the wrong thing. Among the house staff was a quiet maid named Maria. Maria had been working at the Whitmore estate for 2 years. She was in her late 30s, always wore simple clothes, tied her hair in a neat bun, and rarely spoke unless spoken to. No one knew much about her, except that she worked hard, never complained, and had the kindest eyes. She had been there the night Eliza died. She had cleaned up the broken vase that fell when Charles threw it across the room in grief. She had washed the children's tear-stained sheets. And every night, while the world slept, she quietly picked up the pieces no one else wanted to see. Maria had known pain. She had buried a child of her own years ago, a little boy who died from leukemia when he was 5. She never talked about it, but that loss lived quietly in her heart like an old scar. One evening, as Maria walked past the children's room, she paused. She heard Lily's soft sobs and Max's whispers, talking to the wind as if hoping his mother might answer. Her hands trembled on the doorknob. She had never overstepped boundaries. She had never dared speak unless addressed. But that night, something stronger than rules pulled her in. She knocked gently. "Can I come in?" she asked softly. The sobbing stopped for a moment. Then Lily whispered, "Yes." Maria entered the room slowly. She looked at the 2 children sitting on the bed, their faces red from crying, eyes hollow and tired. "I was making some hot cocoa downstairs, and I thought maybe you'd like some," she lied kindly. The children didn't reply, but they didn't say no either. That was enough. She returned with 2 warm mugs and sat down on the floor between them. No pressure, no talking, just her presence. That became the routine. Every night, Maria would bring them cocoa. Sometimes she told quiet stories. Sometimes she said nothing at all, but she always came. She never missed a night. One evening, Lily asked, "Why do you come?" Maria smiled gently. "Because I know what it's like to miss someone so much it hurts to breathe." Max looked at her for the first time. "You do?" Maria nodded. "I once lost someone very important to me, too." That night, Lily held her hand while falling asleep. Max didn't cry. Word spread in the house. The children were talking again, eating, smiling even. Charles noticed the change but couldn't understand it. "Did the new therapist help?" he asked the head butler one morning. "No, sir," the butler replied, hesitating. "It's Maria." "Maria?" Charles frowned. "The maid?" "Yes, sir. She's been spending time with the children. They seem better." Charles was stunned. He had brought in experts from across the globe. He had spared no expense, and yet healing had come from the most unexpected place. That evening, for the first time in months, Charles climbed the stairs to the children's room, and as he opened the door slightly, he saw something that made his heart catch. Maria was sitting on the floor with Lily asleep in her lap and Max leaning against her shoulder. She was humming a lullaby Eliza used to sing. He didn't go in. He just stood there, tears filling his eyes. For the first time since Eliza died, the mansion didn't feel like a graveyard. It felt like home. The maid who healed a billionaire's broken family.